Hi, this is Magdalena Gabriel from Forte Training Company. I have got with me today Jess and Mandy, who are supporting us with some amazing bite-sized classes for leaders, which we have been delivering, and we have had loads of questions which we really wanted to answer for you today. But before we go into answering your questions, I thought it would be really good to introduce both Jess and Mandy. We're missing VUCA today, but she will hopefully join us at the next Q&A session. So, Jess, over to you. Just, it would be really good if you could maybe just briefly introduce yourself.
Hi guys, my name's Jessica and I'm working on the CV and cover letter session and the remote interview. One interesting fact about me is that I love food, so I food blog on the side. And yeah, great to have you here.
Thank you. Thanks, Jess. Thank you. Mandy.
Hi, my name is Mandy Creswell-Phillips and I have been involved in training and development for over 25 years. Crikey, I feel really old now, and have my own training company for coming up to 24 years. Our Forte Training is all about developing skills, and I am looking after the time management and branding skills, so I'm looking forward to meeting you. But I thought I'd tell you about a useless skill that I have. My totally useless skill is I can read a full orchestral score, but I can't play an instrument.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. And I've known you for like many years.
I can read a full orchestral score at school. So I could probably conduct, but that's about it.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's really good to know. Thank you. Oh, wow. That's amazing. Fantastic. Well, we have started this week. This has been our first week of our online bite-sized courses for leaders, and we have been running them, and we've had a blast, haven't we, ladies?
Yeah, it's so fun.
Delegates, and it has been really a lot of fun. We've had loads of questions asked, which I think is brilliant. So we thought we would pull all of those questions together and kind of try to answer them, because they may not only be relevant to those who ask them, but also to other people that attended our courses. So we're just going to go through the questions we've had so far this week. So let's start with this one. Do recruiters look at your online presence and your, so it's about social media. And Jess, I thought maybe you could answer that, since you're an expert in that.
Yeah, I think it depends on the role itself and the company. So if it's a big company, the employers may not look at your social media, but they may look at your LinkedIn. A smaller company will actually be quite specific and just Google your name and see what comes up. So just always have a understanding of what is actually on social media and your what comes up with your name, and it's always good to check that.
Yeah, and actually we had a tip from Gagana, who was one of our delegates on the course on Tuesday, and she suggested that we Google ourselves using different browsers, because that's when we get an idea of what is out there on the internet available about each of us. So that's really good. Thank you, Jess. Then there is a question here about how do young people stand out when they don't have a lot of experience? So even though this is a CV question, I thought Mandy could answer that.
I think it's having a really strong sense of your own identity and thinking about how you want to be perceived. People form a first impression, even from a CV, or very, very quickly. So what you want is you want your CV to reflect you. So when I read the CV, I should get a smell of you. And then when I meet you, I should be able to go, yeah, this person and this CV go together. So try and have a really strong opening statement. Even if it's just a couple of sentences that really pulls your skills, where I think, yeah, I know this person when I speak to them.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it is that confidence thing. It doesn't matter if you haven't got loads of experience, skills.
Yeah, and going back to what you said about that opening statement, it's something that you actually cover in your personal branding kind of mini course about understanding what's important to you, what your values are, and how you want others to perceive you. So.
And what you want your leave behind to be. So at the end of the interview process, you should know what your leave behind message is. You should put that Zoom call down and think, I know that they're thinking, wow, that person was blah. So know your door in and know your door out.
Yeah, fantastic. There was another question. How do old people stand out when they have too much experience? So I will take that question. And I think I've recruited people in the past, and I think if in the past I probably wouldn't employ somebody who had too much experience or too, was kind of overskilled for a particular job. I think the market has changed with what's happened after the pandemic. And if I was recruiting somebody who had, more experience than I necessarily needed, I would probably be really chuffed as a recruiting manager. So I don't think that is going to be a hindrance at this point in time. Probably for another, 1 year, I think the job market is going to remain at this point where employees are not going to discriminate people who have got too much experience for a particular role. The thing you can do to actually make yourself stand out and, to kind of be, to kind of offer your CV and your covering letter is using a modern format. So thinking about how you present your information, how you present yourself. And again, it's something that Jess covers in the CV covering letter and the work portfolio mini class about what formats are out there and how you can best present your CV, because ultimately that is what the recruiter is going to see first when they receive your application form. Jess, is a shorter CV better?
I think compared to a 5-page CV, it will be better. But yes, I think it definitely would be a better, concise, streamlined CV compared to a very comprehensive CV. Mm-hmm. We do have a quote in our session saying you have a few seconds to impress mm-hmm. a recruiter, and that is just by looking at it from a glance. So definitely a more streamlined.
Brilliant. Then we had this quite a detailed question, which I think is a brilliant question. So there is somebody who says that they've got a dual skill set. They work as ERP, software and business systems, and 3 days as marketing. So how to best combine it? So I think the answer to this question is it really depends on what you want your career to look like. This is somebody who's currently looking for a job. How do you want to combine them? It probably is a question that you need to ask yourself first in terms of how, what your next steps look like. And it's something that we can do as part of our one-to-one career coaching. There is also another thing that you could do is try out different combinations, whether you do combine the two skill set on one CV or whether you have one specific CV for one type of roles and one specific CV for two, for the other type of roles. But ultimately, it really depends on where you see yourself, what you enjoy doing. I know it's a really tough market at the moment, and a lot of people maybe are kind of tempted to go in a particular role, just to have a job, and that's absolutely fine. But if you want kind of a long-term fulfillment, and a long-term utilization of your skills and talents, it's probably a good idea to think first about what you want your dream job to look like, and then take it from there. But again, as I said, it's something that we could be looking at in a one-to-one career coaching. So feel free to get in touch about that. Okay, we're going to move on to the next question. Should I be taking out some of my experience? Does it make my CV look too crowded when there is too much written down? Jess, what do you think about that?
I think it depends on the role that you're going for. Try and cater it towards the actual job. And some things aren't unnecessary. We don't need to know your first ever job. And our LinkedIn is able to kind of actually, you can put everything on there and you can refer back to that always. So LinkedIn profile is quite key if you have quite a comprehensive history.
Yeah, and again, if somebody hasn't got a LinkedIn profile yet, it would be a good idea to to put one together, and it's something that you just can help with. Just because so many recruiters are looking at LinkedIn first when they are recruiting for new roles.
Yeah.
And this is a Mandy question. How do I prioritize based on different projects?
This is something that we cover really in depth on the session actually, and the trick is to know the difference between two really crucial words in time management: urgent and important. And we confuse those words so much, and we think that something is urgent and it's actually important, which means we could give more time to do it, or we think that something's important and actually it's urgent. So we look at the definition of those words, and then we have some really nifty prioritization maths, which I'm not going to go into here, but that will be the answer to that question in full. But just as a little taster hint, I'll say know the difference between urgent and important, and that will help you see your task much more clearly.
And it's really interesting just to chip in, because one of our objectives for this particular course is to help people find 30 minutes a day that they can spend on doing whatever they want to do, whether it's writing a book, getting fitter, spending more quality time with the family or friends. And we asked the delegates who came to our Tuesdays course whether they've managed to save find a spare 30 minutes. And one person, Chris, he was brilliant, because he said, I don't think I found 30 minutes. I reckon I have found 40 minutes that I can now spend on stuff that I really want to do, which is brilliant.
Absolutely. And if you'd have asked them all up front, was that possible to find 30 minutes? They would have all have said no. Yeah. Because especially at present, with the pandemic, we're working, the time has become so skewed anyway. Yeah. I have to work out what day it is to take the bins out on my hands, for God's sake. So actually being able to prioritize my time is crucial. And so it's, absolutely everybody found 30 minutes. And it's simple. You just need to know what the tricks and techniques are.
Yeah, no, brilliant. So that's all we have got time for today. There is a few more questions that we will answer at the next opportunity. So for those of you who have really enjoyed some of the answers that we've provided, keep an eye on your emails, on your inbox, because we're going to be sharing with you details of when the next courses are coming up. And of course, if there is any more questions that you have for us, feel free to get in touch. It's forte@fortetrainingcompany.com. For now, thank you so much for your time and for watching us, tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.